Atlas Salt has just received an independent feasibility study for their Great Atlantic Salt deposit in Western Newfoundland. The FS outlined a base case scenario of a 34-year mine life and a net present value of $1.017 billion Canadian using an 8% discount rate. It also went further to provide a revised PEA, an expansion case where the NPV has the ability to double and nearly quadruple, all while currently sitting at roughly $125 million market cap. To discuss this pivotal moment for Atlas Salt and more, I'd like to welcome their new CEO, Rick LaBelle. My good sir, welcome.
Thank you very much, Brandon. I'm happy to be here.
I can imagine so. You know, it's a very, very big moment here for yourself, your company, and your shareholders. Rick, SLR Consulting just prepared a robust feasibility study for Atlas's Great Atlantic Salt deposit that investors have been eagerly waiting for. First and foremost, can you dive into the significance of this FS and what it means for your company and its shareholders?
Yeah. So first off, we surpass the PEA by a significant factor, over $100 million. And in terms of net present value, and we've increased the life by 4 years, so to 34 years from 30 in a PEA. But I have to say, though, on the expansion side, the expansion case, it's remarkable. It's a long life asset. It's an asset that we know how to put in production. We're so excited. It's a great moment in a company's history.
Yeah, and speaking about the company history in general, you know, up until now, obviously, everyone's known that there's potential there. The PEA has shown there's potential there. But this FS, this is that blueprint. This is the ticket that you can now take to institutions and brokers. Is that the plan moving forward here for Atlas Salt, especially now having this FS and expansion case now in hand?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the FS, and I'll use your words, blueprint. It actually de-risks the project at an infinite level in comparison to a PEA. And I'm not sure if everybody understands what a feasibility study is, an independent one that is, by companies such as SLR, which is one of the best in the world in what they do. All of the capital has been priced out, sourced out, designed. They have quotes from service providers, mine builders. They've analyzed the market. They've talked to clients. This FS is and like I said, it's de-risked the project. And now we can talk with lenders, we can talk with service providers, and we can also talk with the market, the institutional investors, and so on. And you know, when you have a PEA, you can do very well. You can get through the front door, but an FS is at a different level. It's a blueprint. It's a business plan blueprint. It's a build plan blueprint, and with the team we're going to be putting in place, it's certainly going to be a good recipe for success.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And, you know, I'd like to go a little bit more about, or a little bit more into that expansion case as well. This PEA essentially replaces the previous PEA, and it showcases the value of this deposit with production at 4 million tons per year, as opposed to the 2.5 million tons in the FS. And that alone nearly doubles this value, this NPV, to almost $2 billion at an 8% discount. Does this expansion case better reflect what you believe this mine will operate at? And will it be your main discussion point when speaking with investors and institutions?
Yeah. So the FS anticipates a 3-year production ramp up. And I'm referring to the FS that SLR just completed, which we just announced today. And then it levels at 2.5 million tons forever. So obviously that's just not good enough. And I have to say, because this is the most important part here, the mine is designed for 4 million ton. So we are definitely going to be focused on surpassing the 2.5 million ton as demand ramps up. the beauty with this mine and this design is that you can almost dial it like a dimmer switch on a light. You can as you need more production, you just dial it up. If you need less, you dial it down, and which is very important when you're supplying a product like salt. If we have a bad winter and we need more salt, and we can get a better price, we can dial up the volume. If we think we can actually dial down the volume by and for a strategic reasons, it's easily done. It's unlike almost any other operating mine. This is basically an underground warehouse, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, and so basically, just to summarize all of that, is that the FS gets you the foot in the door. The expansion case shows them this is what can easily be done. Give it a few years.
That's it. And you know, this mineral deposit is unique. It's high grade, absolutely massive, close to the surface. It none of this material is going to be going through a mill, or there's no complex metallurgy.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to explain this correctly, because we have continuous miners underground, all automated. It's piggyback onto a conveyor belt, and the conveyor belt goes up the ramp from surface right down to the port. So you can just imagine the productivity. It's um, and that's why it's important to have a mining operation that's flexible. It's I cannot emphasize how important it is to be able to dial up production and dial it down as required.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know, there's so many things about this mine or about this deposit that will soon become a mine that just absolutely blow a lot of these other mines out of the water. And when we're talking about gold and other things like that, because I find it fascinating that for Great Atlantic, it currently has a $1 billion net present value at 2.5 million tons, like we were just talking about, and a 2 billion net present value at 4 million tons. And that's all based off of an 8% discount rate. But many would argue that due to various factors, some of which we just spoke about, a 5% discount rate can be applied here. That would increase NPV to $2 billion and $4.1 billion, respectively, a massive difference. Do you believe there is a case for a 5% discount rate being more realistic with this type of project over others that you've experienced in your career?
Yeah. So we're plagued by, we'll use the word unique because it's a unique deposit due to its size, proximity to the surface and to the market, and the quality of material, the grade. So there's not many to compare with. So the answer is yes. If you think about that, it's at a 2.5 million ton at a feasibility study level, it's 34 years minimum. SLR mentions all the way through their document on the announcement that that's an absolute minimum. And even at 4 million tons, there's likely a chance that it's going to be longer than 47 years. That's what they're saying. Um, yeah, certainly we should be getting credit for that due to its low risk profile, long life asset, near um, near its client base. I would say that it should be somewhere between 5 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
uh, Trending downwards. That's and the only thing we can really compare with is the only other industry that I think we should have some comparison with is potash. It's very similar
Mm-hmm.
to that type of mining.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. And these are the discussions that you can have with various different institutions, high net worth investors, you know, you name it, when sitting in front of them, and obviously being able to showcase what other mines are doing, and like the fact that you can be going in, you're mining for gold, and then 10 feet over to the left, all of a sudden it's just all rock, it's all gone. That's not the case here, as just as an example, of course. But no matter what the metric used, 2.5 million or 4 million tons, whether it's 5% or 8% discount, like we were just speaking about. One thing for sure is that your current market cap of around 125 million would appear to be incredibly undervalued compared to the NPVs provided in the FS and the expansion case PEA. How will you seek to increase shareholder value to better reflect the valuations just provided by SLR?
Sure. So sometime soonish, next month or so, we're going to announce a management team, an executive team. I call it the Bill team, that is world renowned. So that'll further de-risk the project in combination with the feasibility study. Will bode really well with other types of investors that is complementary to our current investor base, such as institutions, pension plans. If you think about it, if I was an institutional investor or working for a pension plan, and if you look at the expansion case or even just the FS, 34 years of production or 47 years of production, I would load up. It's in Canada. Demand's outstripping supply. It's a product that is very resilient to recession. In fact, one could argue that it's not correlated at all to recession. We're going to buy salt. Society is going to buy it. Society is going to leverage it and put it on their roads so that they can keep their family safe and the trucks moving and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I think we just, once the market figures out exactly what we have and how much we've de-risked it, and the fact that we're not sensitive to recessions, and the fact that we have production there for generations, it'll change. It'll attract a different type of investor that's in it for the long haul. So.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you going into detail there. Well, I want to stick on metrics again here, because there's a lot of numbers, a lot of different metrics that are involved with this FS. And this FS specifically showcases a more than 3-to-1 ratio of NPV to direct capital cost, $17.8 billion in pre-tax cash flow over the 47.5-year life of mine in the revised PEA, and what should be the lowest cost salt producer in all of North America at $22.70 Canadian per ton FOB. In all of your years working in the private equity space and building mines, how do these numbers compare to what you've experienced throughout your career?
Yeah. So I have seen those numbers, but for short periods of time. Very opportunistic projects where it's 2 years or 3 years. So I've seen those ratios where there's a distortion in the market, and the private equity firm has figured out how to take advantage of it. I have never seen it over this period of time. This is I've never seen anything like this for 34 years at the feasibility study as outlined today, or through 47 years through the PEA that was outlined today. I have never seen that type of horizon. I just don't know of any.
We'll go with that word once again.
Yeah.
It's unique.
Yeah.
It's unique.
Yeah.
And that's what I personally believe when I look at this. Like you said before, any type of pension fund, any type of private equity, any type of fund in general, institution, they're smart enough to see that. Right. A lot of people do have very small time horizons in this investment world, and that's totally fine. You know, there's many different people, there's many different ways to win in the stock market. Well, there's also very rarely there is the for sure thing, the thing that will continue to pay year over year, increase year over year. And everything that we've outlined today in this interview, in the FS, and our previous discussions with each other is pretty much outlining that's exactly what we have here with Great Atlantic. Well, I appreciate so much for your time. I do want to leave off with one last question. With FS and the expansion case now in hand, what are the immediate next steps for Atlas Salt that investors should be excited about?
Yeah, there's 3 things. The very next thing is we're going to be, and I'm talking the next 2 or 3 weeks, announcing a world-class management team that's coming on board. They are motivated. They're excited. They see the opportunity. 2 is concurrently with that, We are already working on our environmental assessment process. And third, and certainly not least, our job is to tell people about this, to share our story. And obviously now that the FS is out, the feasibility study by one of the world's greatest engineering firms, now we can talk to institutions, we can talk to pension funds, and I think those three things in the next between now and the end of the year is we're full out, we're focused. It'll be an exciting um, last quarter of 2003, and we have more announcements coming down the pipe.
Yeah, absolutely. Very excited to hear. I appreciate your time, Rick. Congratulations on getting this, and for the whole team over at Atlas Salt. It's been a long road coming, but we can now see where that road is heading, and that road is heading to one of the most world premier underdeveloped salt mines in the world, looking to obviously make that now into the next salt mine in North America over the last 25 years. Excited for it, Rick. Thank you so much for your time, and look forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it.